Welcome to the last day of the Onboard week. Oh, it went so fast. So for the last time, my name is Riel van Hoof and I am the moderator of the Onboard Week 2020. We had so many nice talks last week, and starting from Monday about onboarding, Tuesday and Wednesday about pre-boarding and personal onboarding, yesterday about culture onboarding, and today our speakers from Great Place to Work and the Van Gogh Museum will talk about remote onboarding and reboarding. Now, Onboard Week is an initiative of Apical, the company that provides a digital onboarding solution. And our goal with this event is to share knowledge on onboarding and to help you to create the most memorable onboarding experience. Now, I hope we achieve that, but it's not over yet. In the networking sessions at the end of each day, apart from meeting the speakers, you're also able to learn more about Apical's product. Or you can just plan in a personal meeting with our onboarding experts, and you can do that through the link in the chat. Now, this program has been made possible by our partners Yes We Connect, Great Place to Work, HR Office, Validator Smart Recruiters, and Visma. Now, today our speakers will explore how your organization can successfully reboard and remotely onboard your new hires. From Wenke from Great Place to Work, we will hear about psychological safety in the workplace, and from Indra and Susan will let us know about how they mastered the reboarding at Van Gogh Museum. So, I want to welcome our speakers at the table.
Thank you.
The commercial director of our partner Great Place to Work, Wenke, and Indra and Susan from the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. So, good morning, all of you. We have all ladies at the table this morning.
Yes, we do.
That's great. Now, it's our last day. You are my last guest, so let's make it a good morning together. Shall we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with the introductions. I'll start with you, Wenke. Are you into museums?
Sure, I am into museums.
Yeah, not everybody.
How can I say differently those two ladies here at the table? Yes, I'm definitely into museums, and I have a museum card also. And in fact, I have the tradition to go to the museum every Sunday with my 3-year-old daughter, Jackie.
Wow. Nice.
Cool. And what really amazed me is that museums are really into guiding also the younger people into the museum.
Yeah.
So it was very surprised by that. And the last thing that I saw was in Rotterdam. I'm very sorry, but I lived there. At Kunsthal, it was an exhibition about black and white, the pictures, which has to do with music. Music plays there a central role. And I saw, of course, the iconic picture from Britney Spears kissing Madonna.
Yeah,
perfect.
And for me, it was like also a little bit a sign of the times, that you should be yourself wherever you want or whatever you want, and that you can kiss whoever you want.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm really into museums.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Nice.
I also go on Sundays with my child. Not every Sunday, but the last time I went also to the Van Gogh Museum.
Perfect.
And they organize like workshops to paint, and you do a great job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. What is your role within Great Place to Work?
Yeah, my biggest role, in fact, is to stand up as an ambassador to engage Dutch and international organizations in becoming Great Place to Work and put psychological safety at first. So moreover, we thrive that psychological safety should be top priority within organizations. And moreover, I believe in the for all working culture, so that where it is possible, that every employer should make it possible for everyone to be yourself, no matter who you are, what your gender, or your color, or your role is within the organization.
Yeah. Now, the next question, I think a lot of companies would like to hear this answer on this question. How do organizations get a Great Place to Work label?
Yes, they don't get it. They have to earn it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, work for it. And above all, we want to give organizations insights on how they can improve their workplace by using data. We have a model called the Trust Index. Talk to you a little bit later about that. So it's very important that employees give their feedback on the workplace culture. And what we do is to collect the data, and we have also the best workplaces. And in fact, that's the crème de la crème, because the top 10 of each certified company. And there, the highest scoring certified companies will be rated based on both employees' feedback as well the company policies and the programs that they have. So it's not about getting, it's about earning. You have to work hard for it.
Yeah, that's true. We all have to. What can we expect from your talk today?
I hope I can inspire you that to acknowledge the importance of psychological safety within the workplace. And I will take you through a journey from all the data that we collected, not only during COVID-19, but before, because we exist already 35 years worldwide. So I hope to inspire you with some figures and facts that, in particular, the leadership recognizes the importance of psychological safety and that it pays out.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you for now, Wenke. Let's go to the ladies on the other side of the table, Indra and Susan. You both work at the Van Gogh Museum.
Yeah.
What favorite Van Gogh piece do you have, or story, and why?
My favorite piece is Undergrowth. It's not that famous. It's basically 50 Shades of Green, but it creates such depth, and I think it's a beautiful piece, and it's really small, but yeah, I just love that.
And you?
Well, as you may know, Vincent also wrote a lot of letters.
Yeah.
And actually, I think his story is very interesting, and especially the part of his life where he's very dedicated to his work and motivated and very driven. And I think there's something universal in this story about finding your own path and just go for it.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that's my favorite, and it's inspiring me.
Yeah, nice. And what is your role from both of you in the company?
I'm a management assistant, and I am involved in different projects within the Van Gogh Museum, Reboarding being one of them. So it's quite a diverse job.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to have that.
Yeah, and I work as a HR advisor. On the one hand, I give advice to managers about team and organization development. And on the other side, I'm also in charge or sometimes part of projects. So together with Indra, we did the Reboarding project. But I'm also, and you said something about it, involved in the inclusion and diversity program of our organization. Yeah.
Now, is every employee a Van Gogh fan? And if so, how do you incorporate that in the company's activities and communication?
I think at the very start, not everybody is a fan.
No.
But once you work at the Van Gogh Museum, the motivation is so interesting. It's such a beautiful company to work for, and it feels like a family, basically. And the family of actually Vincent van Gogh, the great-grandson of Theo, still works with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And he gives out guided tours to our employees. So once you start at the Van Gogh Museum, you get a guided tour through the museum with him as your guide. And he tells such beautiful stories about how he had Almond Blossom, which is one of the most famous works of Van Gogh, in his hands as a small boy in the back of the car of his grandpa who founded the Van Gogh Museum. So with stories like that, it really makes a Van Gogh fan of every employee.
Yeah, and it's so personal as well.
Yeah,
You
it
feel
is.
much more involved because of it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And what have you prepared for us today? Because you're going to do the presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to do the
today,
presentation, but she knows everything about the HR department, so she's the knowledge of it all. But I'll do a presentation about the reboarding at the Van Gogh and how we did that through the pandemic and being closed yet again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about our story.
Yeah, nice. Good that you're going to share this, because I think a lot of companies are coping with the same challenge as well at the moment. So thanks for sharing that. We have given out 2 Onboard Awards so far. One for great onboarding at large scale to PepsiCo Mexico, and one for onboarding at smaller scale to OPCW. And today we are giving the Reboarding Award. So let's go live to Victor Romein, the chosen spokesman of the jury, to hear who the nominees are for today's award. Victor!
Thank you so much, Cyril. My name is Victor, and I will be announcing the nominees for the Onboard Award 2020 for the Best Reboarding. The nominees for the Best Reboarding are Quaker Houghton, SH Hotels and Resorts, the Van Gogh Museum, and Viceroy Hotel Group. Who will be the winner? You will see that after today's session.
Thank you again, Victor. So let's get back to the table and get our program started so you can win the Reboarding Award next year. And we want to involve you, all the people at home, in this discussion. So please fill out this poll, and we will include the results at the final discussion here at the table. So let's go back and talk about the topic a little bit more. So Wenke, why do you need to have a good remote onboarding in place?
I can be very short on this one. I think it's like launching a rocket. You can only do it good once. You have one chance, and if you don't succeed, the whole thing will explode.
Yeah.
We don't want
that. And if people need to go back to work, why is it so important to reboard them well?
I think it's really important to reboard them well, to make sure that they are involved in every step of the way, and they felt heard. So they know what to expect, and it's a safer way to start working again.
Yeah. And what happens when you don't report your employees well?
If you don't do that, I think there is a lot of nervousness with the people, and they don't know what to expect. They don't know what to do, what has changed. And I don't think that's creating a safe working environment. And we're all about creating a safe working environment, of course.
Yeah. Okay, it's already time for the presentations, and we start off with you, Wenke, by talking about psychological safety in the workplace. Yes. So please take the presenter stage and prepare.
Yes.
And we would like to invite you sitting at home to ask any questions you have while watching the presentations and write them in the Q&A part in the chat. So stay tuned till the end of the sessions, where the questions will be answered by our speakers. Good luck, Wenke.
So, good morning. I'm here to talk to you about psychological safety. And before I even start, I would like to give you the choice to stay or to go. Because the 2 key takeouts that you can take with you after this talk will be trust pays out and focus on the how and not on the what. So now that you know what my 2 key takeouts will be, you can choose to stay or to go. So if you want to hear more, please stay. And if you don't want to hear more, you are allowed to go now. What is it like to onboard during COVID-19? We decided to ask an expert on this, and it had an interview with Juriaan. And Juriaan is working at Yellow Grape, one of our clients. And he in fact, onboarded in the middle of COVID-19. So we asked him how he experienced this and what his lessons are. And you can start the video now.
Ik ben Juriaan. Ik ben sinds een maand of 3, dus in de corona-periode, begonnen bij Yellow Grape als technische e-mailmarketeer. Ja, ik heb het onboarden als heel fijn ervaren. Het was een hele persoonlijke onboarding gehad hier bij Yellow Grape. Ja, wat bij Yellow Grape sowieso heel hoog in het vaandel is dat er veel vertrouwen is. Dus er wordt veel vertrouwen geschept in de organisatie aan de mensen. Dat merkte ik ook heel erg toen ik hier begon. Dat er heel vaak even een koffietje werd gedaan. Dan waren eens even vragen, hoe gaat het met je, hoe voel je je? En vooral ook leg jezelf geen druk op. Blijf gewoon lekker ontspannen en doe je ding. Na mijn sollicitatie, toen moest ik eerst 2 maanden wachten vanwege mijn vorige contract. Dus toen ik hier uiteindelijk kwam te werken, daar heeft 2 maanden tussen gezeten. In die tijd heb ik wel contact gehad met Yellow Grape. Wat ze bijvoorbeeld deden, ze stuurden me even een kaartje tijdens mijn verjaardag namens het hele team. En toen ik bijna ging beginnen, lag er ook een kaartje in de bus. En dat ze echt heel erg leuk vinden om me te leren kennen, dat ze niet kunnen wachten tot ik ga beginnen. Dat maakte wel dat ik echt heel veel zin had om aan de slag te gaan. En wel part of het team al voelde, terwijl ik er nog niet eens werkte. Het is voor mij wel helder wat ik kan verwachten de komende periode tijdens corona. Er zijn richtlijnen opgesteld waar we ons aan moeten houden. Alleen het is niet als een dictaat. Het is meer, dit zijn de richtlijnen en kijk zelf maar hoe je daar invulling aan wil geven. Wil jij juist meer afstand of minder afstand? En de omgeving is ook veilig genoeg om daarin te durven te zeggen, ik neem even wat meer afstand dan een ander. Tijdens mijn sollicitatie werd al gezegd, wij weten wat er op je cv staat. Dus daar vertrouwen we in. Dus maak je daar vooral ook niet druk om. Maar zorg dat je op je gemak voelt.
So what we learned out of Jurian's testimonial is that he felt really part of the team before he even started at a company. His onboarding was personal. You heard the story about his present, his birthday card that he got. He was trusted and he felt safe to speak out. So what made him feel safe? What is the importance of psychological safety and what is psychological safety anyway? A Great Place to Work, we have this definition. Psychological safety is a person's ability to feel that they won't be shut down, punished, or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. At the workplace, of course. This extends to their ability to innovate, to speak out against injustices, and campaign for change. Quite a how do you say it, a heavy note in a beautiful morning. And with our proven model, the trust index, this extends to, so when you feel psychological very safe, you will get less stress, more work pleasure, and a lot more confidence. What we do within Great Place to Work is we measure trust. So with our proven model, the trust index, we measure about 7,000 companies in 60 different countries. And when people within an organization experience psychological safety, this has an effect on the business results. The trick to make this happen is a culture of trust. Without trust, hassle arises. It starts with gossip, stiff communication, and eventually leads to people leaving. A lack of trust costs everyone a lot of time, energy, and money. A high degree of trust, on the other hand, ensures that people openly share their ideas, enter into conflict constructively, and that simply people like working together. So it speeds up productivity, and there is focus on the business. So what we truly believe and what we know is that psychological safety is a predictor for profitability. Let's look on some numbers. The most important results from our Trust Index survey, as you can see here, is that organizations with a high confidence index, so the blue ones, have 3.7 times higher revenue growth. So they are very successful. 1.7 times more applicants and 2.2 times less leaves than organizations with a lower confidence or trust index. And the correlation between trust and organizational success is also confirmed by studies by Gogh, Lencioni, and Gogh. Within the best performing teams, employees appear to identify a very high degree of psychological safety as the main driver for their success. So psychological safety really pays out. And where do high-trust companies make the biggest difference? So when you have the certified and the not certified companies, you see that the biggest difference is made between management makes its expectations clear, so it's transparent. Management hires people who fit well here, so have a good idea of who fits into the culture. And one of the highest, this is a psychological and emotionally healthy place to work. It makes a high-trusted company different from a low-trusted company. And we stay with the numbers because we don't know still, or we still don't know the effects when it comes to profitability and COVID-19. But what we do know is that we have some results during credit crisis 2007-2009. Because what you here see is the way that people are treated within companies pays out. So during credit crisis, we see that the high-trusted companies gained 14.4 more profitability. And when you compare that towards the S&P 500 and the FTSE 100, you see that those figures dropped. So it really pays out if you focus, or the way that you treat your people even during a crisis, it really pays out on the long term when it comes to profitability of your company. So now, the first thing I wanted to talk to you was the results and the effect of psychological safety in the workplace and how it pays out, even when it comes to business results. But how do you ensure that onboarding before and after and that people have a good experience of your organization, that they feel welcomed, experience trust, and are enthusiastic about you as a company, and that they feel safe, of course. And that is seen, that what is seen on the outside, so this delicious banana, tastes as good as on the inside. So no sticks inside, no surprises there. This is very important because new hires need to be welcomed, onboarded and developed by HR and their managers. It's very important also to involve the managers and the whole team. And the way or how new hires are treated in the process really helps to set a tone for the employees' trust and emotional attachments to the workplace. You should build a company that is based on trust. And we heard it earlier also from Gogh, that it is very important that people feel safe, that they feel trusted when they onboard and certainly also when they are going to reboard. And what we know out of our data is that the dimensions and behavior that make up the employee experience are, as you can see here, credibility, respect, fairness, pride, and camaraderie. And especially when it comes to onboarding, credibility and camaraderie in particular play a very important role. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how do we define credibility. Credibility is mainly a one-way street. So from leadership to employees, it's about behavior, and camaraderie is built between people. So credibility here is about hiring the right people, sharing information transparently, meeting expectations, and having people open to answering questions. So communication, competence, and integrity. And when we look at the camaraderie, we see that camaraderie is about the mutual connection in a team, so especially more important in times of social distance, of course. So does someone feel warmly welcomed in his or her new team or organization? And when you heard the story about Juriaan, for example, he said that I already felt welcome in the team before I even started my new position. But unfortunately, at many companies, onboarding, and I hope this will not be the case for the clients of Epicol, I'm sure it's not, but unfortunately at a lot of companies, it is often a disjointed experience. Poor onboarding is responsible for almost 1/3 of new hires leaving a job within 90 days. So early exiters often cite that the job was not as they expected it and that they had a bad sense of the company culture. Remember that banana story. What's on the outside? What's on the inside? So you have 90 days, and after that someone decides to stay or to go. Or even worse, stay with a bad image and a low motivation. And that's even worse. So what we say, in fact, onboarding, like I said it earlier, it's like launching a rocket. You can only do it once right, or otherwise the whole thing will explode. And as our global CEO, Michael Bush, earlier said, it's not about ping pong tables, massages, or pet walking, but it's how about people are treated within your company. If nobody dares to play on that ping pong table, you're completely missing out the point. What about remote onboarding, remote working, but especially now remote onboarding? We heard it before. It's about creating a safe working environment. It is the task of every employer. And now that Corona crisis has turned our entire society upside down, it appears to be a top priority. Uncertainty about the future can cause stress. And asking people's experience, asking them how they feel, it doesn't solve it all, but listening is a very important first step in creating a sense of security. Remember the findings of Juriaan, where he said, I was heard. I had the feeling that I was listened to. I could ask any question that I wanted. And measuring employment engagement provides very important insights on this. So you mind engagement to drop in a crisis period, because it's a crisis, but our data really shows otherwise. And this is a very, for me, it was a nice surprise, in fact. So what we saw, that companies who measured their employee engagement during 2019, for example, April, May, and we compare it to the results during COVID-19 now, you see that on every dimension, results went up. Credibility, respect, fairness, pride, and camaraderie. It all went up. So a big shout out to the organizations, of course, who really stress on the fact that it's very important to listen to your employees and to communicate transparently. Credibility is, in fact, the highest, the highest upper. And it relates to this statement. So we ask a few statements towards our employees, or the employees from the organization that we measure. And here you have some striking notes. Leadership acts honestly and ethically responsible. So no matter what the situation is, no matter what the message is, it is important to act responsibly and to communicate about it. People here are encouraged to balance their work and private life. I think you all saw the pictures from cats jumping around the laptops, and kids behind the kitchen table that were asking things. It really is different. So it's very important also for leadership to acknowledge this and to have a discussion about it. So how can we solve this for you? But acknowledge it and have some, how do you say it, a respect for this. The coordinating people and work, also a very important one. In many organizations, new ways of working suddenly had to be found. A great deal of creativity arose, and it helps if the leadership provides also clarity about who can do what work and when. Furthermore, information. The magic word here is communication. So leadership, especially in times of distance, you cannot communicate enough, with a clear message, of course. That's very important. And doing this frequently and transparently gives a huge boost to people's involvement, especially when people are reboarding or remote onboarding. It's so important to have a lot of communication going on between employees or between the leadership and the employees to make them feel safe again. Because it's difficult when you're going to the work and you're having your cup of coffee at the coffee machine. It's very different than you have to onboard or remote working behind your screen. It's difficult. We are people, we need some physical connection. And furthermore, contribution, it's the last one. So the way in which we contribute to society gives me a very good feeling. And this is about how can we, especially if we do not have a vital profession, make a contribution to society. So we see that organizations have devoted time and attention to do this in the 6 past months. So to motivate people to do some volunteering work, for example. It really pays out and people feel more engaged and really have the feeling that they do something also for society because it's tough, right? And then some downers that you also have to take into account. I feel like I'm making a difference here and my work has meaning. It's not just a job. Yeah, and this is a little bit about the feeling of pride that someone has. People have at home, people have time to think about the question, is this really the work I want to do? And it's good to discuss that so everyone can find his or her purpose and thus remain motivated. And if you don't focus on this, these people will leave as soon as they see the opportunity. Maybe they stay now because we are in a pandemic and maybe it won't be that easy to find a new job, but it's very important to also have those people aligned with your organization. And then some tips. So how can we do a good remote onboarding or onboarding in the regular way, but especially remotely? As I said it before, not about the what, but more about the how. So be you. Build your employer brand on the core values of the company. Give people a warm bath. Involve everyone, especially team members, because it's not an HR thing. Match reality. Take care for the internal and the external communication and make sure that that banana tastes well. And of course, it's for all. So take care of your new and your existing employees, but also don't make it feel like people who are onboarding, for example, in a finance position, are treated differently than people who are onboarding on a sales position. And last but certainly not the least, you have to ask for feedback. I know that in certain companies, people are holding like surprise or surprise conversations. So what surprised you within a company? What really stood out and what could we do better? So it's very important, certainly in those 91st days, to ask for feedback. And this one is going to be a very delicate one, the reboarding. When it comes to the eventual return on the workplace, it will be a very delicate process. Companies that have not demonstrated to employees how they will make that transition safe are really at risk of losing trust. Fortunately, with a lot of facts and data on the virus to guide everyone, many companies are taking this very seriously. But it's not just a physical dimension here that will be important. Because we cannot forget about the furloughed workers and their eventual return to the workplace. After being out of the market for a few, maybe months, you start to become deconditioned from the workplace. And it's not unusual for returning employees to have doubts about their capabilities. Frontline workers also have been exposed to a lot of more traumas that need to be approached with care. Let's think about the nurses, the bus drivers, the shopkeepers. They may later experience post-traumatic symptoms at the workplace. And a good employer in a good workplace with good leadership and trained line managers have a much better chance of helping these people. It's not the same for everyone, and it will be very complicated, but going back is going to be quite a difficult journey. More than ever, I think it's clear we need high levels of psychological safety in a workplace so that employees feel comfortable sharing their concerns and struggles with their colleagues. And of course, with their managers. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. Certainly not. And then, before I jump into my conclusions, I think as a silver lining, 2020 has been quite a crash course for all of us when it comes to workplace empathy, flexibility, and trust. With hope, there are lessons learned business will carry forward. And for companies who were previously not aware of the importance of psychological safety in the workplace, I think the need to foster it is now in overdrive. So, when I jump into conclusions, I may say psychological safety pays out, even during a crisis. You have seen the numbers. Focus on behavior, not on things. Make sure people feel eager to play on a ping pong table. And especially during COVID-19, it's important to listen. It makes people feel safe. And when it comes to reboarding, be aware of the extra obstacles. So far my talk. And if you want to connect, you can now grab your phone and scan the LinkedIn code, QR code here. I'm open for coffee. I'm open for discussing with you after the next presentation of Van Gogh Museum. And if you like to have a goodie bag and you send me an email, I will send you back our white paper about psychological safety in the workplace. Thank you.
Wenke. And a big applause for you. That was really interesting. Please sit down. Yeah, I have a first follow-up question to your presentation. Yeah, just breathe.
Yes.
Drink some water. Now, on the Onboard Week second day, we heard about Microsoft, about using a lot of behavioral data on analyzing employees' behavior. What is your view on that?
I think they make a very good step in this, because what we do at Great Place to Work, we do perception survey, right? So we ask people how they feel, and it's not, maybe even it's not reality, but it's how they feel it. And I think behavioral data will make it a little bit more tangible also. So it will strengthen, and maybe will be a little bit more specific. So I think it's a very good, how do you say it, a development when it comes to collecting data. But on the other hand, I think a lot of companies are not yet ready for it yet, but it's good that Microsoft really invests in this.
Yeah. Yes. What a shame that Henk Ritmeester is not here today, because he would love to have a discussion with you. Maybe a good idea for next year to put you two together. Susan, what was for you the insight that you heard that you could use at Van Gogh?
Yeah, well, I think it's very impressive, and especially the behavioral data where you were talking about. And I'm actually a bit worried now, because we don't measure a lot. We based everything on feelings, so we feel things, and then or hear things, and then we're going to act to it for our employees. And we do have a employee survey once every 2 years, and we now just started with an experiment in our museum to connect the data we gain from our visitors, and we want to compare it with our employee happiness. So that's very interesting, I think, but that's it. But
well, you might forget the most important part. The HR department is very visible in our museum, and they really take their time to talk to us and make sure that we're all feeling well. If they notice that we're not feeling well, or she's maybe not doing that great, you guys really step in and try to.
That's true, but it's based on feelings. And my question is, when you hear this, what do you think about it?
We have to work together.
I think so.
It's good. I really like the thing that you said, is that HR is visible. It's very important, and I think it was clear here also. It's not only about leadership, of course. It's about communicating, and you are visible, and that's an important thing. So people will not be scared of walking or coming to you when something is wrong. But I think it's also good to know what went good within a company. And there are some people who are not feeling at ease by stepping in if they have a problem, or if something they want to talk about. Like the more introvert people, maybe not always be physically in touch. So for them, it would be also a nice thing to ask them what is going on.
Do you think it's more easy to fill in a survey?
Yes, I think so, because there's a little bit is more distance, and what we do is we do not ask questions. We how do you say it? We give people statements to answer. So it's about perception. It's not good. It's not right or wrong. It's about perception. So I think, I don't think. I'm sure that it's always good to make it a little bit more objective and to ask them the questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Because then you have something to discuss about, to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's clear.
Now we're learning from each other here this morning. That's good. So Indra, you're gonna have your presentation now, and you would talk about mastering the reopening of a museum with a thorough reboarding program.
Yeah.
So take your place.
Thank you.
And good luck. And once again, don't hesitate to ask any questions you have in the chat, and our speakers will answer them at the end of the session.
Hi, everybody. For the people who just tuned in, just a short introduction about me. My name is Indra Gele. I work for the Van Gogh Museum for over 5 years now. I started out in the cloakroom, hanging up coats, giving out the multimedia. And for over 2 years now, I'm a management assistant, and I work on various projects, the reboarding being one of them. So just a few basic facts about our museum first. We have 345 employees at the Van Gogh Museum. I myself didn't think that there will be so many people in the museum working for it and making sure that it's a successful museum. But you need it. All those people really work hard to create such a successful museum. Our core values, well, you see on the screen. We inspire a diverse audience with the life and work of Vincent van Gogh and his time. And we want to be authentic, connected, and opinionated. 12th of March, that's the beginning of the lockdown. We heard it at 5 p.m. The president had a press conference saying that we had to close our museum and the concert halls and everything. Our director, Emily Gordenker, who just started at the 1st of February, called us all to the entrance hall and basically said, well, it's going to be all right. Of course, it's going to be a difficult time, but we're going to get through this, which was really nice and really shows the family feeling of the company. So the 1st of June, we could reopen, thankfully. Well, you see Emily Gordenker right there in the middle. We made it as festive as possible. Of course, we couldn't do the whole shebang as we used to, but we made it a festive reopening. The sunflowers you see there are from Taki. It's one of our sponsors. And that way, we could give every visitor that left the museum that day a sunflower as a token of gratitude. And also to our employees, of course. So what should we do in the meantime? Well, there were a few big questions. What should we do? What can we do now? And what to do, basically, with everything. We took this time to do some maintenance work that we otherwise would do later on this year, but with the visitors being gone out of the museum, we figured, well, let's do that now and make sure that there is no more, the maintenance work hasn't had to be done with the visitors in there. One of the conditions to reopen was to have time slots for the museum so that the information of the visitors were in our database. Luckily, we already had that in place, and we took this time to also connect with other museums to make sure that they could have that system as well. Other things we installed was a walking route, stickers to remind you to keep 1.5 meters distance, which is very important in this time, of course. And disinfectant every few steps, of course, and protective screens. A big change for us was also that we don't have any more workers from our employment agency, and we had to do it with all our permanent workers, which gave us a little bit of a problem. Well, not a problem, but we had less workers, so we had to figure out what to do with that. That's where Apical came in. Well, you probably all know what Apical is, but just a little bit of information. Apical is an app that makes sure that you can get to know the organization, get connected with the people that are working there, and it has been shown that the productivity goes up. Before COVID hit, we just started on the onboarding program. Unfortunately, we weren't able to finish that because COVID hit and we weren't able to take in any new hires. We did this just before COVID, like I said, but we had to make the onboarding to reboarding. So we took the things that we already collected for the onboarding and tweaked it a little bit so that it was ready for the reboarding. We did this with 4 teams of the operational staff: visitor service, front office, security, and retail. It was quite nice to work together like this, because of course you know what everybody does, but you don't know the specifics. So it's a really nice way to get to know each other a little bit better and get to know what they actually do day to day. So what's the most important part for the reboarding app? What was the main goals? First and foremost, information. I think, especially in times like these, it's really important to give out information to our employees. Like I said, we weren't able to keep the workers from the employment agency, so we had to work with multidisciplinary teams. What meant that the visitor service could work for retail, retail could work for security, security for front office, and vice versa. With this app, we created that option. And of course, awareness. What can you do to make sure that it's a safe place to work? Well, I'm going to show you a little video of how the app looks like right now. That's the app. It has all kinds of different things. It also shows all the different operational staff and also the museum shows. Like I said, information was a really big part of it. So information from our management team to our workers was a really big part of it, and stories of our employees to our employees. Also, we have a part right now for the people that are staying at home and aren't able to work. What they can do is take some classes and learn a little bit more. And of course, what does every team do? So visitor service, basically what you do all day, say hi and bye. No, we do way more than that, of course. But it's the basic knowledge of what you have to do when you get there. And of course, you're going to get quizzed about it and see what you have to do. Apical really helped us. It really gave a better idea what to expect for most workers. And it was really great that we already had this in place because our office workers were also very connected to the museum, of course. And usually we go there every day, every 2 days. We would walk into our museum and see what's going on there. With this time, that wasn't possible. But we called upon all our office workers, Susan being right there, to help out on the museum floor. With this app, they knew what they had to do and were able to jump in at every post and help out our operational staff. This really created a feeling of, well, we're in this together. It was really great to reconnect with each other, see other people than your partner once in a while. I mean, everybody loves their partner, but after a few months, you like to see other people. And that was really great that we could do that by going to the museum, helping out our operational staff, and just experiencing what it's like to be in the museum during this pandemic. So what's next? We added loads of things in the last week because unfortunately we had to close again. Hopefully next Thursday we'll be able to open again. But between those, between the last lockdown and this one, we added the news item. We added push messages so that everybody of our operational teams were up to date with the latest news from our management team, and added courses so that they could do that when they're staying at home, which was really great. Everybody really likes it. Most courses are already full, so there are Teams meetings with like 50 people in there. But yeah, they really liked it, and we cannot wait to see what more we can do with this, and what way we can connect to our workers even more. That's my presentation. I would like to answer all your questions in our meeting afterwards, a networking meeting, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Indra, and a big applause for you as well. And for the audience, we don't have anybody here in the studio. That's why I have this button that I love to give you an applause. That was really great.
Thank you.
Good to hear how you're dealing with this situation. I have a first follow-up question to you as well. The Van Gogh Museum had to close again. You already mentioned it. But do you feel more prepared this time?
Absolutely. Of course, the first time around, we were really surprised. We kind of saw it coming, but we thought, oh, no, that can't be. The museum has never been closed before. So we had to be quick on our feet and think of solutions. But right now we knew what to expect. We know what we had to do, and we were able to perform it in a way shorter amount of time than before. So yeah, we were really prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then maybe next week you're going to be open again.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope
Cross
so
our
too.
fingers.
Okay, Wenke, did you hear anything from Indra that you would suggest to other companies?
Yeah. What I particularly liked was the connection. First of all, the connection when your CEO took the courage to say, okay, this is the situation, but it's going to be all right. I think it's very important that people feel safe and that they know, okay, we will be taken care of. So a big shout out to your CEO.
Yeah.
And what I particularly liked was the connection that you made. During the crisis via the app, but it's about what you are going to put in the app, right? It's not about the app, but how are you going to use it? And what I really liked from my perspective is that you were looking for a way that people who were, for example, not allowed to do their job anymore, as in saying bye and hello, get them the opportunity to invest in themselves. Yeah. So to take the training, and that's exactly what I also said before, that people maybe will be not motivated because they sit at home, they don't have anything to do, particularly when you are, for example, in hospitality, and it's a very big compliment for HR also that you figured out some training for those people, so they could be developing themselves. And yeah, so I would suggest that also to other companies. Get in touch, get connected, and make people feel, how do you say it, at value, even when they are at home. Yeah.
And also
well
the
done.
Klusjesmarkt, that's a really nice project that HR has set up. So every employee has the opportunity to help out with other teams.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody from the operational staff can help somebody at the press office, for example, and maybe get to know the field a bit better and think, well, that's actually really nice. Exactly. I want to do more in that.
So for the connection, it really is a good one, because probably in normal times, you won't be getting in touch with those people or with those colleagues. So for the connection and the innovation within a company, it's really...
And also, also for our office employees.
Of
but
course.
it's so interesting what
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the people of our museum
Yeah, sure.
knows about.
Yeah.
And it's all different things.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also
So-
works the other way around.
Yeah.
Eventually a silver lining and a good thing out of this
Absolutely.
pandemic, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Okay, now we're going to finalize this discussion and have some more questions from the audience that were asked during today's session. But first, let's go to the result of today's poll. And I'll get that here on the iPad, put my glasses on like every day. The font, we couldn't get the font bigger. So, and the question of today is, what are you people struggling with the most in this corona crisis? 60% said connection with colleagues. 10% said lack of direction, purpose. 30% said work-life balance. And 0% said nothing. Our people are doing great. What do you mean?
Nothing's going on
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your response to this?
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with the 60%. Yeah, like I said, Van Gogh it feels like a family basically, and well, it's the same as not seeing your grandpa and your grandma that often anymore, and just through a screen. It's not the same.
No.
You still feel the love.
I saw that this morning because we haven't seen each other for a while. And it was immediately sparkling and love. And
Yeah, yeah, and we all really enjoy
Yeah.
being together
Yeah.
and working together
Yeah.
for a great museum.
Yeah.
But still, it's still great to see each other through screens, of course, and that's fine. But I personally really look forward to the moment that I can see all my colleagues again.
Yeah, I can
and
imagine.
have the big party and seeing everybody, hugging
Yeah,
everybody.
drinks.
Yeah, drinks. But yeah, for us, that's not possible at the
Yeah.
moment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's the same.
Yeah, I
think
think
so.
so. And our business is in fact to have conversations about this within with different companies. And what we so I can relate to the connection thing. And what we also see within the other organizations is that there is a big concern about mental health, especially within. People, younger people, millennials who are living, for example, in a nice apartment with no partner around them. So the single millennial,
Yeah.
in fact. It's quite a concern.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
when you
true.
are being detached and your work is not your life, but it's a very important thing in your life, and
Yeah.
you're like. And now we are walking into the winter, right? So. At the beginning in March, it was like, oh yeah, it's a funny experiment. But now it's not a funny experiment anymore. So we also give the advice to that companies: please stay in touch, and you better communicate too much
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you communicate
Yeah.
right than when you don't show your face, especially when it comes from leadership towards employees, and facilitate them in making connection with each other. So. A lot of concerns when it comes to mental health. So that connection thing, I can imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I have a lot of questions coming in. Actually, yesterday we got a question from somebody from the audience and asked Arjan from HelloFresh if he could come up with a question to ask you. So he had to think about it, but we got it in.
Yeah.
And the question Arjan had from HelloFresh was, Wenke, how can they assist and support us in becoming even better? The onboarding, culture, inclusion, and diversity. What do they do about that?
What we do about this, or so HelloFresh is recently certified as a Great Place to Work company. So congratulations again. And what we could do is provide them, facilitate them in how to get the conversation started. So we have quite a lot of consultancy. And we can, based on data, we can provide him by more insights and guide him through the journey. So he has to call me, I think.
You heard that, Arjan? Just call her. Okay, for Indra and Susan, how did your employees took a suddenly shifted job? And I can imagine that it requests a high level of flexibility from everybody in the museum. A question from Eric.
Do you want to answer that, or?
Yeah, maybe you can
Okay.
start and then I'll...
Yeah, it's absolutely. There has to be a lot of flexibility from our employees, but we try to guide them as much as possible.
Yeah.
And we do that with the Reboarding app by giving them trainings, by giving them the opportunity to work with different parts of the museum. And it was actually funny because when the museum had to close again last Thursday, was it? Yeah. One of our colleagues asked everybody on the floor, well, what would you rather do? What would you prefer? Trump being the president or closing the museum for 2 weeks?
Okay.
And they all answered Trump being president.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, because they really didn't want the museum to be closed. And I think that really shows how much they really want to be there.
And also because it's so weird for our employees that it's now so much more quiet in the museum, because they are all people who wants to work very hard and are very hospitality minded. And so I'm also feeling a bit concerned when we are open, because it's so different. We ask a lot about
Of our employees.
our employees.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
How you can prepare them properly to go back, because their jobs will be different, especially at the beginning. So I think it's a good job for you to talk with them and what do they suggest to do.
Yeah, they really helped us with the reopening the first time, because we called in small groups of people from every operational staff and see what they thought would work best for them, so that they actually could think with us about the solutions, instead of just saying, well, it's the solution that we have prepared for you, figure it out. But they actually were involved in the whole process, and I think that's also a very important part, and really help them ease into the new situation.
Because they thrive on other people, right?
Yeah.
And when they are no other people, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
There used to be 7,000, 8,000
wow.
people a day.
Yeah.
Bit less now.
Bit less.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
I have a question for all of you. Do you have any examples of a remote onboarding day, and how can you organize this? Question for Sabrina.
Well, you probably...
Yeah, what we see particularly when it comes to remote onboarding, you heard the story from Julian. What I really thought it was quite good in it is that he he already got some attention before even starting, and he had the luck that he was right behind the first lockdown, just before the second lockdown, so he had the opportunity to go to the workplace. But I think the most important thing is to connect with each other, even when it's just calling, send them a package, guide them through the whole journey. Epical could help with this, of course, because they have a solution where you don't have to be face-to-face. But I think it's very important to be visible. Out from leadership, but also from the team. For example, we heard we ourselves onboarded some people during COVID-19, and what we did is that we made a college tour. So I drove with my car and a lot of balloons. And a new colleague
So
to say hi to her on a distance, of course. So we were quite like hi and good luck, and made a picture, made a video, gave her the information, make it personal. I think that's even more now. It's more important to make it personal. It's just you said it, it's nice, but it's so easy to do, in fact. And of course, when you have to onboard 100 people, it's a little bit more difficult. But when you can do it, make it personal. Show your face, show you care. I think that's the most important.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, well, we also did an onboarding program online, so an introduction day. But we don't have a lot of employees now starting because of our situation. But it was helpful, I think, for those employees who started during the lockdown.
Yeah, and our director gave a little speech and made sure that they had a face to put with the name. And I think that's, like you said, really important.
Okay, a question for Wenke. Which Dutch company rates highest in your index and why? Question for Frank.
It depends on the category that you're in. So now I'm a little bit overwhelmed with those questions because we do have a lot of companies. But I know that, for example, Visie Hypotheken is a very important one. They are a small company, but they are completely self-organizing. They make even their loans transparently. So it's very important. It's a very interesting company. And what they do so good is they put the trust in their people. They put their people first. In fact, we started like a movement at the beginning of COVID-19 because we heard a lot of we have how do you say it? Oh my God, we read a lot of articles about organizations taking draconic, I don't know how to say it in English, but huge layoffs. And we are not convinced that that would be the best solution. And in fact, we started with Visie Hypotheken, that movement. Please look first at the other things and really put your people first. Because what we saw in my talk already is when the way you are treating people during a pandemic, it really pays out. People will get far more involved and will be an ambassador for life. So Visie is a good one. Dela also is always on the top ratings of our list. And what they particularly do very well is that they take the word care very seriously in everything that they do. So I can talk about this like hours.
I noticed.
But yeah,
But it's good. We have time. We have plenty of time.
Why are they so high rated? I think really because I put the people first.
Yeah.
And I recognize that people, in fact, are the how do you say it? They show you the way when it comes to making your business successful.
Yeah.
And it's not only leadership. Leadership facilitates, and in fact, the employees are in charge.
Yeah. Nice. Another question for you from Roy. The banana cactus is great. Do you have any examples of how that was perceived and how did companies solve it?
I really. What does he mean with the question? So, is it like?
Yeah, I'm also not sure. The banana cactus is great.
Okay,
Do you have any examples of how that was perceived and how did companies solve it?
Yeah, I think that he meant that you have to be aware of the fact that, okay, we see a lot of companies with a great PR machine, right? So they are like shouting it out that they are doing very well. And then we have a lot of, we have some examples, I won't give you the names, but we have examples that people come in and it feels really differently from what they thought it would be. So that's the banana cactus story. So I'm really convinced about the fact you better begin inside and afterwards shout it, but not first shout it and solve it internally. So we say you have to begin internally before you can win externally.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what that banana is all about.
Yeah.
It looks great, it looks delicious, and when you open it, it's a little bit painful.
For Indra and Susan, do you have examples of creativity of your people coping with the challenges you're facing going in and out of your workplace? Question from Jeroen.
Well, yes, a lot. Well, I thought it was very inspiring. A manager of us, she initiated a call circle. So every week, she has a very big team, and every week there are people who you get someone appointed who you have to call this week, and then it's a whole circle, and it's very good for the connection. So I thought that was a very nice example.
Yeah, and actually to be like very the creative part. We have a lot of aspiring artists working with us.
Yeah.
So when we first reopened, there was actually a collection by employees, for employees that they could look at. And it was beautiful artwork, portraits of other employees. It was really beautiful, but they got the chance to showcase their work at the Van Gogh Museum.
Oh,
It was very nice.
It was really nice, yeah. There was like
It was also very fun.
painting of one of our conservators. It was really nice.
Yeah, and what was I thinking now? Yeah, no, I don't know no anymore.
But that's a really interesting one because you made them also feel seen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a creative part, and you showcased, or you gave them the opportunity that fantastic building, which is your museum, that they could showcase their work. So it's also a little
Absolutely.
bit that contribution to society what you made right there.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really high. That's really the core of our museum, that we all feel that we contribute
Yeah.
socially.
Yeah.
We really feel connected to our surroundings, to the city, to the people that live there, and that's really that's high up on our list to make
So
sure.
you
Yeah.
have your values, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I think for our employees, it's greater than their own paycheck at the end of the month.
Yeah. Wow.
It's about contributing and having a purpose and working together to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Another question for you both. Did you think about creating an online museum visit or tours? And if so, does that work? From
Well,
Niels.
you can already visit our museum online.
Okay.
On Google Arts, of course. You can visit pretty much every museum around the world. But we also have a fantastic YouTube channel that allows people to go through the museum or through the temporary exhibition right now with one of the people that actually curated it all. So that's quite special. And it's all on our YouTube channel, free for everybody to see. And of course, there is also our book club. So it's not visiting the museum, but really understanding Van Gogh and his time a little bit more by his letters and some other works of Van Gogh.
And we also have a very nice Instagram account.
Oh,
And
True.
it's the biggest account. We have the biggest amount of followers.
Of all the museums
all the
worldwide.
museums
Oh, really?
in the world.
Oh,
Yeah, in the world.
Great.
Yeah, and it's also very nice. You learn a lot about Vincent and Theo, his brother, and about the painting. So very nice to
Yeah.
follow.
They actually have questionnaires on there, and I myself aren't able to answer everything correctly, unfortunately. But it's really nice to see and refresh your memory.
Okay, so Niels, check that out. For Wenke, what is the role of employer branding in relation to employee retention? In other words, if you sell your company in a different way it actually is, does that influence retention rates? Thomas.
What do you think, Thomas? Of course it does, yes. And it's about the connection, right? So I talked, I think, at the beginning that what you see within high-trust companies, there are less leaves, so people are staying more, there's more connection. And it's the worst thing that, in fact, can happen is that when you stay, despite of the sticks inside, you will get lower motivation and bad sense of the company culture, I think. So yes, it definitely will pay out to have that on place.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be honest. We are not like children. We feel what's wrong, and it's important to take that into account.
Yeah. Let me see. And the last question is what I have here is for Indra and Susan. Do you have employees that like to keep their extra or new roles, or would you go back to the former roles?
Yeah, that's a very nice question. Yes, because, well, it's so nice to mention, but we actually think that we are going to keep this because it's so nice. We see, all the connection, but also the people really like it that they can do different tasks. So, Indra already told that we don't have now our
Workers from the
agency. Yes,
agency.
yes, but I think if they come back, and they will come back, we are sure, of course, that they will. We don't hire them only for our visitor service, but also for security and also for our front office and for our retail, so that it's blending more.
Yeah.
I think blending is a good idea.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I used to work for visitor service, and I was always intrigued with everything they did at the shop and what the security actually did, because they get to go to parts that I am not allowed to go. So I always wanted to go there. But yeah, it's really nice to know what they are doing day to day, what they love about their job, maybe what they don't like about their job, because let's face it, everybody has something about their job that they don't like. But it's really nice to learn a bit about each other and be able to switch up your work a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe you could put that into a questionnaire. So how you would like to do your job when it comes to when you have the choice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now this was the last question, and there is so much more to talk about and questions to be answered, but it's not over yet. In 5 minutes, you're able to join in to our networking sessions with our speakers and fellow attendees. You will receive an invite link in your email any second. But first, let's switch over to Victor and mine at the Epical's headquarters to hear our winners of today's Reboarding Award. Woo, exciting!
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for this wonderful session today. My name is still Victor, and I will announce the winner of today's Onboard Award for Reboarding. And the winner is Viceroy Hotel Group. Congratulations. Well done.
Yay! Wow! Unbelievable! What a surprise. It is so exciting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Apical. It is an honor to be recognized in the same category as our fellow nominees. We are so proud to be here. But of course, this wouldn't be possible without the hard work and dedication from the other 3 people that are here with me, at least virtually. Pilar in Los Cabos, Mexico, Jasmine in St. Lucia, and Taylor in Santa Monica, California. So thank you guys for all the work that we have done together. I also want to take the opportunity to thank Viceroy for believing in us and supporting us during all this time. And I think it's also very important to acknowledge that yes, we did the design work and we built the re-onboarding app, but without the support from the directors of human resources and the hotel general managers who ensured a successful rollout of the tool, we wouldn't be here either. So thank you everybody for the help, and hola mama, thank you again. Back to you.
Yes, congratulations to our last winner of the week, Viceroy Hotels Group. And they looked so beautiful. Did you see that? They're all dressed up. And this beautiful trophy will be sent to you. And I make sure of that, but it also looks good on my chimney thing. It looks really nice. Okay, how great is that? Now I want to thank all of my speakers here at the table for being here today. Wenke from Great Place to Work, Indra and Susan from the Van Gogh Museum. Don't forget to meet them in the networking sessions after. So, we are at the end of this week's program. And in the name of Apical, I want to thank all of the speakers and all of our partners, but all as well the audience that are engaging and asking so much questions and watches us, of course. And I would like to thank the team of Apical, the whole team, because they organized such an amazing, great, successful online event. And the very, 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 very special thanks to Christoph Wallekamp, mwah, 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 and his lovely assistant for this year, Stella, for, they organized everything so perfectly, and they helped me with everything as well. So thank you for that. So a big shout out for them and for the whole Apical team for doing such a great job. So thank you for that. Okay, but check out as well the Apical website if you have any questions about their product, and you can click also in the link to request a demo. It's really the ultimate onboarding experience for your new hires, so don't hesitate to. Now, it was a pleasure being the host this year, and I hope to see you next year. Bye.